everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm in my tiny house right now and we're going to be doing a tiny house video. This video is going to be 10 things that I have done to the tiny house to make it better for the Airbnb guests. A lot of these things have not been in here while I was living tiny. I actually changed these things to make it better for the Airbnb guests, and when I move back in, it'll probably make it better for me too. We're going to go through those things now since we don't have a guest right now. I have my next one tomorrow and they can book up until 8 o'clock tonight. I'm taking this opportunity to do a video inside the empty house while no one is here. Let's get to the video. Number one is my farmhouse sink. Most of you guys know, if you are following my journey, I had some transport issues and one of the trucks hit about 20 potholes in Nashville and broke up the farmhouse sink that I used to have. It was about 2 or 4 inches shorter than this one, but because there was a bunch of cracks in it, I didn't want Airbnb guests to cut themselves or get hurt in any kind of way. I spent the money to replace it. I hired the handyman. He came over and actually had to modify this whole section. So this goes down this way. He had to cut an entire piece out of there because the original sink that was in there was also custom put in there by the builder. We did modify all of this and now there is another beautiful farmhouse sink, and I cannot wait to move back in because then I will get to use this sink, because right now in the mobile home I'm not using a farmhouse sink. I've got a stainless steel sink. And for those of you know, I do not like stainless steel, so I cannot wait to get back to this one. I have gotten lots of compliments on this sink by Airbnb guests, which is really awesome. I am glad that they are enjoying the sink while they stay. Number 2, I ended up getting blackening curtains. Now, the reason why I did this was because last year when I was Airbnb-ing the house, a lot of the guests were saying that it was really hot in here. Now, I can only imagine that had to do with some of the sun that was coming in through the windows on this side. I got blackening curtains for that side because it does blacken everything out. One of the reasons why I had all of these sheer curtains to begin with was to let all of the light in, but again, the guests were complaining that it was too hot. The mini split wasn't working. I had to do something about it. I didn't know the mini split wasn't working at the time, so to help that along, that's when I got all of the blackening curtains. Now I'm going to show you the whole side that has them. These are the sheer curtains that I have in the tiny house, but because it was so hot, I ended up putting these blackening curtains on this side because this is the side that the sun comes in the strongest. So I put them all along this side. They're all the way up there. There's even some up there in the bedroom loft. I did also put them up in the other side of the bedroom loft just so that they could have privacy. But I actually really like them because it does cool the house off. The heat doesn't come in as much. Right now I do not have the air on, and it is 79 degrees in here. It's not too bad, but I do have the ceiling fan on. But this is helping, and the guests do appreciate these curtains. Number 3 is going to be my window unit. My mini split doesn't work. There is a leak in it. I had a few service people, HVAC people over here looking at it. A couple of them cleaned it. A couple of them cleaned the inside, told me I needed Freon, added Freon, and for some reason there is still a leak. I didn't have the money to pay for it to get repaired, nor did I have the money to replace the mini split, so it was suggested that I get a window unit. Because this is only 224 square feet, the window unit does work to heat or cool the entire house, but it still is not strong enough than, say, the mini split was, so eventually I will get either another mini split or have that fixed because there's got to be a leak at the connections in the back, which is what I was told, and once I get the money for that, we'll get that fixed, hopefully get that back going. But until then, this is working. It does put out air and heat. Most window units only put out air, but I did get one with heat, and I have not had any complaints since. When the mini split was down, that's when I was getting the complaints. Put up the curtains, put in the window unit, and now everything is a-okay. Number 4, I am in my bedroom loft, and in this top drawer I have added a heating blanket. Because I don't allow space heaters and I don't want anyone using space heaters by bringing their own, I provided an electric blanket that lasts 10 hours. I wash it after every visit that people can have it cleaned, and it's in here if people do need it. I did also add fleece blankets, so I do have fleece blankets in there if the guests want to add blankets to what is already on the bed. I do have another set of blankets downstairs for the futon, and if the people staying on the futon want to use these blankets, they can do that also. The electric blanket is also another thing that has been appreciated in the guest notes, because when it was cold, it did come in handy. Number 5, I did put in a regular flush toilet. I used to have a composting toilet in here for when I was using it, but when I was setting it up on Airbnb, I thought, I don't know where I'm gonna put all of those bags of waste, especially on land where there was not much land, so I really didn't have anywhere to put it. I didn't want to put them in the dumpster, the garbage can. I decided to spend the money and invest in a regular flush toilet, which this has also been appreciated by the guests, because a lot of guests don't know what a compost toilet is or how to use it, and some might be squeamish to use it. I feel that me investing in this toilet was good. When I move back in, I can switch them back, or I can use this regular flush toilet because I did have septic put to the tiny house. Everything is all good. The guests love it, and it's actually really easy to clean, and there's none of those unnecessary smells that, say, a compost toilet comes with from adding up that waste for 30 days. Number 6, I added a keypad lock to come into the tiny house. The guest will get a 4-digit code, which is usually the last 4 digits of their phone number. This is an easy way for them to come into the house without me having to greet them before they come into their rental. Before I had the keypad in, I was walking the guests to the door, letting them in and letting them know, if you want to leave the door unlocked, and there was no key, there was no keypad. But in the Airbnb groups, they did recommend a keypad system. I got on that right away, and it has been helpful ever since. And it's been easy for them to get in, regardless if they leave or not. And it's a safe thing for them to know that all their belongings are locked up when they do leave. This was installed, and when the guest comes here, they just put in their code. There is a top lock, but I do not lock that, and they can lock it from the inside. And after the guest leaves, all I do is delete, and I will program any new codes. We're back up in my loft. This is number 7. I added an emergency ladder to go out of the egress window just in case there's an emergency that happens in the tiny house. It is a 13-foot ladder since my house is 13 feet tall. The egress windows are on both sides. The guests can get out with this ladder, and or if the ambulance was here or fire trucks were here and they needed to get out, those are the 2 windows that they can access. Now I do keep it underneath the bed, and I just simply put on there, keep in box for emergency use only. It did not fit in any of these drawers, and if I was to take it out, I don't exactly know the condition of it. I think it just needs to stay in here. I don't want anyone to specifically mess with it if there is no emergency, so I just leave it under there, and I'll put it in their welcome message that they can find it under the bed if there's an emergency that happens. Now it's all tucked away and they can't see it, out of sight, out of mind, but they know it's there for peace of mind. These are the 2 egress windows. They're slightly larger, and they actually open in a specific way. This does open wide enough for the guests to get out or for emergency people to get in. Number 8 would be, I added this fold-out table. This table seats too, because it is a tiny space. There used to be a couch there before, which was a DIY couch that wasn't so comfortable. I had not purchased cushions that were more like comfortable enough to be seated there. I did move that out of there and I put a little seating area. If they need this workspace, this whole table folds out and it just doubles. The chairs I had to get separately because they did not come with the table, so I had to find something that fit underneath. But it does fit in this cute little corner. They can open this curtain and look out the window if they want. They can use it for art, they can use it for work, they can eat. They can open up this table into 4, and it's about 80 pounds, so I did put wheels on the bottom to make it move easier, and it actually does move easier. So I have noticed that the guests have used it, which is really great, and a couple of them have mentioned that it was helpful, so I am glad that I made this change. Number 9 would be I added this entire living room. This used to be my work office, and because I moved out of the tiny house and made this into a rental, I wanted to have a place for the guests to hang out and an extra place to sleep, just in case there was 2 best friends that stayed and one can stay upstairs and one stays in the living room. That has come in handy. That does open out into a futon. I do have extra bedding in this bottom storage container, and they know that in their welcome message. And I took away the ladder that goes up to the loft because I don't want anybody in there, and it also gives them more room to walk around. This living room was a huge plus for me, and I cannot wait to move back in because the entire time that I've been living in this tiny house, I have not had a living room. I have had this little space over here where there was a couch bed storage and there wasn't a TV in front of it. I couldn't sit down and relax. I did move the TV from the bedroom loft up into the living room, so the guests do have something to watch, which leads us to number 10. And number 10, speaking of the TV, instead of bringing my Fire Stick to the mobile home, I decided to leave it in the tiny house for the guests. I don't know if you know what a Fire Stick is, but it basically gives you the option to watch several different things, such as Amazon Prime movies, Netflix, Hulu, and a bunch of other different things that people can use their own logins to sign in and use their own account. So at first I did have my password and like an account for them, but I realized that guests would be able to get into my own account, so I canceled that and just had them sign into their own accounts because they can. I left my password for them to use so they can use my internet. This internet that I have does provide 250 Mbps or Mbps. I don't know what it is, but I guess that's the speed. It does reach from the mobile home to the tiny house and even the RV section, so any of them can use the internet. But this Fire Stick comes in handy because not everybody has Netflix, not everybody has Hulu, not everybody has Amazon Prime, so whichever account they have, they can go ahead, use their own sign in and just get in and watch TV. And then they can log out when they check out. But that was 10 things that I added basically to make the Airbnb guests feel more comfortable during their stay. If you guys notice anything or if you know of anything that could work better for an Airbnb guest, please go ahead and drop those in the comments below. I would love to know what travelers out there are expecting when they go to an Airbnb. This is all new to me. I've only been doing this for a year. A lot of these things that I have done have been suggestions from Airbnb guests when something didn't work out. When all of this, the heat was in the house, people told me to put blackening curtains up. I took the suggestion right away. Change out the compost toilet, that was another one. Put in a key padlock, that was another one. So I am taking people's suggestions to make this a better stay for people. Again, if you have any ideas, drop them in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and click the notifications bell so you can receive a notification every time I post a new video, which is every Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. I added a keypad lock to my door rather than my Fire Stick back over to the tiny house. I left it in. I spent the money to replace, don't put that. So I'm glad that they are enjoying the sink as they Don't put that. I am glad that they are enjoying this. Don't put that either. The reason why I had all of these, I don't know what you call them. Don't put that. I also put them in the bedroom on the other side, but only, don't put that. And just if they need the space, they can open up the window. Don't put that. And I do have 250 mpbs. I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's how much, I don't know the word. That's how much gigs or data, I don't know what the word is, can be. That's the speed. I don't know the word. Don't put any of this.